Good morning, students. So let's start with the new topic of this unit. In the previous lecture, we have studied about the transistors, where we have discussed that what is a transistor and why we use transistor, and what are the terminals for a transistor, and what is bipolar junction transistor, and how we can use transistor as an amplifier and transistor as a switch. So that was all about the previous lecture that we have studied. With this, we have completed this transistor topic in the last lecture. Today, we are going to start with the next and the last topic of this unit. And the name of the topic is switched mode power supply. Now, what is switch mode power supply? So, as the name of this topic is switched mode power supply means how we can supply a power by just changing the mode of the switch. So it is just a small topic in this unit. So let's start with this. Switch mode power supply is a power supply that uses a switching regulator to control and stabilize the output voltage by switching the load current on and off. So as I have told you that we can control the power supply just with a switch. So this is the definition. So these power supplies offer a greater power conversion and reduce the overall power loss. So this is the main advantage of this technology, is how we can reduce the power loss and how we can easily convert a power. So look at this image. So these are some of the real life applications of switch mode power supply. So this is how we can make use of different types of switch mode power supplies in different devices. Now, these are some of the real life examples where we can use switch mode power supplies. So switch mode power supply is used in personal computer, it is used in machine, tool, industry. It is also used in security systems, it is used in railway systems, it is used in mobiles, and it is also used in battery chargers. And we also make use it in phones. So these all are the real life examples of switch mode power supply. So with this, we have finished this topic, switch mode power supply. So you just have to understand the definition of switch mode power supply. Next is IC. IC is integrated circuits. So all of you must have heard about the IC, because as we in nowadays we make use of multiple electronic devices in our day-to-day life, and all these devices are based on the ICs. So IC is integrated circuit. So what is IC? It is just a small chip where number of connections, millions of connections are made on the chip, and this is how we can introduce this small chip. They have reduced the size of a chip to a very small size, so that's why hence the name of this circuit is integrated circuit. So earlier there were different circuits, then IC was developed after making conversion in different types of circuits, and IC was the last generation where they have made the size of the chip very compact. Then after IC, they have also developed ultra and very small size chips. So IC is how we can combine millions of circuits on a single chip, and how we can introduce this single chip in any of the electronic devices, and we can operate that electronic devices. So this is the reason that nowadays the size of the electronic devices has reduced to a very small size, and all the household things and all the electronic devices that you use in your daily life, at your college, workplace, so they all must be comprises of ICs. So let's study what is IC. The full form of this is integrated circuits. So integrated circuits are the chips, pieces of semiconductor material which is made of semiconductor material, and that contain all of the transistors, resistors, capacitors necessary to create a digital circuit or a system. So basically this chip is made of semiconductor material, And upon the semiconductor material, there are different materials are used as in transistors, resistors and capacitors. So we have already studied about transistors, resistors and capacitors in this unit. So with this, they can comprise a IC. Even in your mobile phones, you must have seen IC, which contain millions of connections, and all the working of your mobile phone is dependent upon the IC. Now, integrated circuits are also known as microelectronic circuits. They are also called as microchip. This is the reason why they are called microchip, because the size of the chip is very small. They are known as microchip or chip, and it is an assembly of electronic components fabricated as a single unit in which miniaturized active devices. It is a combination of different activity or different devices, different active and passive devices. Now these devices are transistors, diodes, capacitors and resistors. So ultimately IC can be made by combination of different devices like transistors, diodes, capacitors and resistors. So we can say IC can be fabricated by combination of both active devices as well as passive devices. So in the active devices we have two categories, transistors and diodes, whereas in the passive devices we have capacitors and resistors. And the interconnections are built up on a semiconductor material, typically silicon. So chips are mainly made of silicon material. So the resulting circuit is thus a small monolithic chip. So this is the reason, look at this diagram. So this is a small monolithic chip that we can see in different electronic and electrical devices, and which may be as small as few square centimeters or only a few square millimeters. The individual circuit components are generally microscopic in size, and the connections, how they are made on chip, it is not easy for us to identify because they are very small in size. They are microscopic in size. So this is the reason how we can combine, or how we can make a chip with millions of connections. So this is the very basic introduction of IC. Now I want to tell you one more thing about the IC before starting with the next topic. The next topic of the IC is classification of IC. So what is classification of IC? How we can classify IC? So it depends upon the number of devices, quality of the devices, price of the device and the working of the device. What is the turnaround time of the device? So it all depends upon all these components. So let's consider one real life example. So for example, you are going to buy a washing machine from a market. So you want to buy a washing machine of 6 kg. So you can the shopkeeper can offer you a washing machine at a rate of 20,000, which is of 6 kg, and the shopkeeper also has a one more machine, and the rate of that machine is 40,000 and the capacity is again 6 kg. Now what is the difference? The size of both the machines are same. Both the machines are of 6 kg. But the price of one machine is 20,000 and the price of another machine is 40,000. You can consider 40,000 or 60,000. So the price of one machine is 20,000 and the another machine is 40,000, whereas the size of both the machines are same. Then what is the difference? The difference depends upon the functioning of the machine. It depends upon the IC of the machine. What is the quality of the IC, how many features they have made on the IC, how many connections are made on the IC. So it all depends upon the ICs. So this is the reason why different devices has different cost and different devices have different functioning, and some devices operate at a very fast rate as compared to the other devices. So this is the reason its functioning is dependent upon the configuration of the IC. So hence it is very important that to understand the configuration of the IC. So configuration is not in your syllabus, so I will not go into that part, but there is a one topic in your syllabus, that is characteristics of IC. So inside the characteristics of IC, we have to study what are the features of different IC on which the cost of the machine or the cost of the device depends. So we have to study different characteristics of IC. So let's start with, first of all, this is classification of IC. Again, classification of IC is divided into different logical families, and every IC has different function according to its family. So some of the families operate at a very fast rate. So it depends upon the logic family that or which logic family or on which logic family we are working. So every different logic family has different functions, different cost, and different fan-in, fan-outs. So it all depends upon the type of the logic families. So let's start with the first type, bipolar technology. So in the bipolar technology, it is again divided into two different categories, saturated and non-saturated. Whereas in the saturated logic family, there are three categories, RTL, DTL and TTL. RTL is, so in the bipolar technology, we have saturated and unsaturated, whereas in the saturated family, we have RTL, DTL and TTL. Resistor transistor logic family, DTL is diode transistor logic family, whereas TTL is transistor logic family. So from all these three families, TTL operates at a very fast rate as compared to RTL and DTL. DTL operates at a very slow rate. Next category is non-saturated. In the non-saturated, there are two logic families, ECL and Schottky. So ECL is emitter coupled logic family, and the second family is Schottky. So ECL operates at a very fast rate as compared to all other logic families. So ECL is one of the family which operates at a very fast speed. The reason is it has high number of fan-in and fan-outs. So in next slide, I will show you fan-in, fan-out. Then it will be clear to you. Next classification is unipolar technology. In the unipolar technology, there are three different families, NMOS, PMOS and CMOS. PMOS stands for P-channel MOSFET family, NMOS stands for N-channel MOSFET family, whereas CMOS stands for complementary MOSFET family. So these all three families comes under unipolar technology. So students, we have basically two categories of IC, bipolar and unipolar. In the bipolar, we have RTL, DTL, TTL, ECL and Schottky, whereas in the unipolar, we have three categories, NMOS, PMOS and CMOS. All these have different characteristics, different features, but these are not in your syllabus, so I will not go into that part. So I just want to tell you that which of the family operates at a very fast rate. This is just for your journal information because this part is not in your syllabus. So ECL is one of the logic family which operates at a very fast rate as compared to any other family. The reason is it has high number of fan-in and fan-outs. So let's start with the characteristics of digital IC. As I have explained you at the starting of the video that when I explained you about the IC, I have given you one real life example of washing machine where I have told you that if we are buying a product from the market or if we are using a product, any electronic product at your home, so the working of the product, cost of the product and the speed of the product, that how at what speed the machine is responding and is generating results depending upon the characteristics of the IC. So this is why we have to study characteristics of digital IC. So the first characteristic is fan out. What is fan out? Fan out specifies the number of standard loads that the output of the gate can drive without impairment of its normal operation. So fan out basically specifies what type of load a circuit can handle while providing the output. So it specifies the total number of loads that the output of the gate can drive without any problem. So how many outputs a gate can drive at a single time, this is known as fan out. Next is power dissipation. Power dissipation is a measure of power consumed by the gate when fully driven by all of its input. Power dissipation is how much power it is consuming while taking inputs. So that is power dissipation. So if the device is of higher load, or if the device see students, here I also want to give you one real life example. You must have heard whenever you go to the market to buy a product that this product consumes very less electricity. So you always prefer to buy that product. And why the product which consumes very less electricity will be of high cost? The reason is characteristics of IC, power dissipation. So power dissipation is one of the feature of the IC which is calculated by how much power is required by a device. How much power is required by a device when it has to take all the inputs, or when it is taking inputs, how much power it is using. So that is power dissipation. So cost of the device directly depends upon all these features. Next is propagation delay. Now what is propagation delay? It is just a response time. So propagation delay is the average transition delay time for the signal to propagate from input to output. When the signal change in value, it is expressed in nanoseconds. So this is how much time a device is taking for converting the input into output. That is what is the response time of the device. At what speed the device is providing output to you. So again, this is one of the feature. The cost of the device and the working of the device is directly dependent upon this feature. So again, this is one of the reason why the devices which operates at a very high rate, the cost of that devices are high. So this is the another characteristic of IC. Next is noise margin. Noise margin is how much capacity a device has to handle the noise. So it is the maximum noise voltage added to an input signal of a digital circuit that does not cause an undesirable change in the circuit output, and it is expressed in volts. So we can consider one example of noise margin as in, see if we are using any of the electronic devices and there is a noise, there is noise from internal factor or external factor. What is the capacity of the machine to handle that level of noise and to produce output without introducing that noise to the output? So this is noise margin. Again, the capacity or the quality of the product depends upon the noise margin. So this is the one more characteristic of digital IC. Next is fan-in. Fan-in is how many total number of inputs a gate can handle at once. So fan-in is the number of inputs connected to the gate without any degradation in the voltage level. So how many inputs a gate can handle without any interruption. So that is fan-in. So fan-in is how many inputs it can handle at once, whereas fan-out is how many outputs it can handle at once or it can provide. Next is operating temperature. All the gates or the semiconductor devices are temperature sensitive in nature. So the temperature in which the performance of the IC is effective is called as operating temperature. So operating temperature of the IC vary from 0 Celsius to 700 Celsius. So these all are the features of IC. So I hope students it is clear to you after studying all the characteristics of the IC that whenever we buy a device or whenever we use a device at our home, at our workplace, the working of the device, the quality of the device and the response time of the device depends upon the characteristics of the IC. So it quality of the device depends upon all these 7 characteristics, that is fan in, fan out, power dissipation, propagation delay, noise margin, operating temperature and power supply requirement. So this is one of the main reason, that is why we can also buy a LED at a rate of 40,000 and we can also buy LED of same size at a rate of 80,000. So what will be the difference between both the devices? So this is the reason. So with this students, we have finished the first unit of CS2. So I just want to give you brief introduction at the end as in summarized form, that whatever we have studied in the first unit. So in the first unit of CS2, we have studied about the electronic components. The name of the unit was electronic components. So where we have studied different types of electronic components. After that, we have studied classification of electronic components, where we have studied what are active components and passive components, active and passive components. After that, we have studied what are the things that comes under active component and the things that comes under passive components. Under active components, we have studied diodes, transistors, semiconductor devices, whereas in the passive components, we have studied different types of resistors, capacitors and inductors. So we have started with the resistor. We have studied types of resistors, where we have studied variable resistors. After that, we have studied capacitor. After resistor, we have studied capacitor, and we have studied types of capacitors, where we have studied fixed capacitors and variable capacitors. So that was all about capacitor. After the capacitor, we have started with inductors. In this, we have studied the brief introduction about the inductors and the types of inductors. What are the different types of inductors? After that, we have started with the transformer. What is transformer and why we use transformer? And we have also studied about the working principle of a transformer. Then what are the operations a transformer carries out? After that, we have started with the semiconductor devices. In the semiconductor devices, we have also studied one example and applications of semiconductor devices, that is where we make use of semiconductor devices in the real life. So I have explained you some real life examples or some real life applications of semiconductor. Then after that, we have started with PN junction, diodes. Then we have studied PN junction diode, and in the PN junction diode, we have studied about forward biased and reverse biased and different types of diodes, where we have studied Zener diode, LEDs, applications of LED, where we use LED, photodiodes, and where we use photodiodes. Next topic was transistor. Why and where we use transistor? What are the 3 terminals of a transistor? And after that, we have studied bipolar junction transistor. After that, we have started with this topic, switch mode power supply. And the last topic of this unit was IC, integrated circuits, where we have studied what is IC, what is the classification of IC, what are the different categories of IC. So where we have studied 2 different categories, bipolar and unipolar. So in the bipolar, we have following categories, whereas in the unipolar, we have these 3 categories. And the last topic was characteristics of IC, where we have studied the definition of all these things. So with this, students, we have completed the first unit of CS2. Tomorrow we will start with second unit of CS2. So that's all for today.